So we're here today at the Museum of Comedy in Bloomsbury Way, just off Oxford Street. It all came together really at the end of last year when I was talking to my PR agent, Adrienne Philippou, and she knew Martin Witz, who's the owner of the museum here, and it all sort of fitted in very easily, like a jigsaw. We looked at a date, and the date that fell into place was early March. The icing on the cake was that we actually got Comic Relief involved. One of my contacts in the early 80s asked me to go to the Raymond's Review Bar with him, and performing that night that we were there were Rick and Aid, Nigel Planer and Peter Richardson, French and Saunders, and of course Alexi Sale. And we later agreed to do some photography sessions with them, and they were ultimately used for press.
I've got I've got a poster of that.
Oh really?
I've got a poster size of that from the bus thing we did, you know, all the back of the buses. I seem to have given one, but I've got one upstairs in the attic.
Oh really?
Yeah. She's in a frame, I think.
Is it?
I think it was in a frame, yeah. I love myself so much that I blew it out and blew.
The session was basically mayhem. As you can imagine, having all those comedians there all at one time, and when one was on, you know, being photographed, the others are making noises at them. Unfortunately, it was stills rather than live action, which would have been absolutely disastrous. And it was a very long session from memory. You know, it was a 3/4 of a day type of session. You know, when you have a little bit of hair and makeup, them all changing, getting their acts lined up. It was just mayhem.
So that was Peter and Nigel Planer, and they were a brilliant double act. And of course Rick and Aid, who were kind of a mixture of Beckett and I don't know, Harold Pinter and an old music hall. They were terrific actually. So I didn't get, the reason why I was in the comic strip was because in the production of a theatre evening, you can have OTT all the time. Every one of the acts were really high definition. I was kind of very laid back, and Peter Richardson spotted that. It was a resting time, people can take the time, take the balance actually.
Yeah, I think they all really enjoyed the session because it was all new. It was the very start of that alternative comedy scene. So they were all very young. You know, we were all very young.
What for you?
Me.
Oh really? Yeah. I think you did fine as you were. I don't know why it's like to feel.
It was a whole nucleus of feeling that got the sessions together and working well. But I mean, these guys had just started.
I know, it's incredible what you see, isn't it? That picture right there, it's just so good.
At the time I was also shooting a lot of pop and punk bands, and I was building up a huge archive of stuff. Now, of course, over the years you do more work and the older work gets put away somewhere, and this is what basically happened. And when I refound these images, and there's quite a few hundred of them, a lot of them had water damage, so we've had to do a fair bit of repair work to make them showable, which they have done. There's at least 3 or 4 here today that had major watermarks. I also believe it was one of the first photography sessions that French and Saunders had with the others. So hoarding does have some benefits. The exhibition is tied in with Comic Relief, and we're very pleased to say that a percentage of all our profits go to Comic Relief, which we're supporting.